Hello. Today I'm going to be going over VLANs or virtual local area networks. So this is a network that I've created in Packet Tracer, and I've pretty much got it completely configured. So each PC has been assigned an IP address, and I've got one switch and one router. So a VLAN is basically a virtual network inside of a network. So this whole thing is one big network because it's connected to this router at this interface of Fast Ethernet 0/0. But you can create smaller networks inside of your network, which are called VLANs. So, for example, in this small network that I created, you've got two computers in the sales department, PC1 and PC2, and then two computers in the engineering department of PC3 and PC4. When you first configure a network, by default, every single device is going to be assigned to VLAN 1. And I'm going to explain in this video why that's not a good thing. You want to assign different devices to different VLANs. One of the reasons is if everything's on the same VLAN in the network, that creates a lot of unnecessary traffic, and it can slow down your network. So if everything's assigned, if you just leave it the way it is on VLAN 1, that means that everything that's connected to this switch right here is part of one broadcast domain. And what that means is that if PC4 sends out a broadcast message, switch 1 is going to send that broadcast message out of every interface that's connected to the switch. So PC 1, 2, 3, and 4 will receive that broadcast message. Now, if the engineering department is broadcasting a message out, they're probably only meaning for it to go to other people in the engineering department, because the sales department kind of has no use for that. It's has nothing to do with them. So that's kind of unnecessary traffic that's just going around your network, because they're all part of one broadcast domain. When you create VLANs, it changes that. So say we created a VLAN for the sales department, and then we created a VLAN for the engineering department. Now, instead of having one big broadcast domain, you actually have two different broadcast domains. So now, if PC4 did the same thing, sent out a broadcast message, it would go to switch 1, and switch 1 would only send it out of the interfaces that are associated with the engineering department's VLAN. And same for the sales. So if PC1 sent out a broadcast message, it would only be sent to other computers that are inside the sales department's VLAN. Another reason why it's good to use VLANs is for security reasons. So say, for example, the engineering department has some sensitive information that people in the sales department don't need access to. Having separate VLANs kind of segments the network so that PC3 and PC4 can't communicate with PC1 and PC2 internally inside the network. They actually have to go out of the network and back in through a firewall with IDS, IPS, and then go from the switch to PC1 or 2, as opposed to internally your east-west traffic just going straight from PC4 to PC1, PC1 to PC3. By segmenting your network into VLANs, it makes it a lot more secure, because internal traffic isn't filtered the same way north-south traffic coming in and out of the network is. So by using VLANs, you have to use inter-VLAN routing, which is a topic for a different video. I'm going to make another video about that. Actually pretty excited, because router on a stick is really fun to do. But for this video, just to briefly explain that, is when you have separate when you have separate VLANs inside of your network, these devices cannot communicate internally. And that's good for another reason too. Like say PC3 was compromised by a hacker. When you segment your network into different VLANs, it makes it a lot harder for that hacker to move east-west internally inside of your network. He can't just go start infecting all these other devices. He's kind of stuck inside that VLAN. So it's kind of like you're like containing that threat inside of that VLAN, which is another good reason why it's good to segment your network using VLANs. Okay, so cool. So now that we talked about what VLANs are and why they're important to use, let's go ahead and look at our VLAN brief. So go into CLI, go into privilege exec mode, and type in show VLAN brief. So as of right now, as I was saying, the only VLAN we have that's in use is VLAN 1 by default, and what we want to do is assign sales department their own VLAN and engineering department their own VLAN. So just to demonstrate the open internal communication that I was talking about earlier, let's say I want to ping, so I'm in PC4 right now in the engineering department. Say I want to ping PC1 in the sales department. I can do that right now because, hang on. Okay, so ping 192.168.1.2 from PC4 to PC1, and I get a reply. So internally, I can talk to PC1 from PC4 right now. Now, if we go into the switch and we go ahead and configure these on different VLANs, you'll see that now we can't. So we're in privilege exec. We need to go to global configuration mode, and let's go ahead and do sales department first. So let's create VLAN 10 for sales department. So first command is going to be specifying which interfaces you want to assign to the VLAN. So if we look here, we've got PC1 and PC2. PC1 is assigned to Fast Ethernet 1/1. PC2 is Fast Ethernet 2/2. So we can knock these both out. Interface range, Fast Ethernet 1/1, and Fast Ethernet 2/1. All right, so now we are configuring that the range of interface FA 1/1 and 2/1. The next command would be switch port mode access, and then switch port access VLAN, what did we say, VLAN 10? Cool. So you're going to get this line right here. It says access VLAN does not exist, creating VLAN 10. All that means is that we didn't create that VLAN before we configured these interfaces to the VLAN, so, which is no big deal because it'll just automatically create VLAN 10 for us. So now, if we, let's say, type do show VLAN brief, so now you can see we have VLAN 10 created with these two ports associated to VLAN 10. And now we can go ahead and configure the engineering department. So let's do interface range Fast Ethernet 3/1 and Fast Ethernet 6/1. Switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN. Let's do VLAN 30. Cool. Do show VLAN brief. Awesome. So now we have assigned, we have two different new VLANs that we've created, and we've assigned PC 1 and 2 to VLAN 10 and PC 3 and 4 to VLAN 30. So let me fast forward this. Cool. All right, so everything should be working now. Now if we go back to, let's say, PC 3 and we try and ping, let's ping PC 1, 192.168.1.2. We should not be able, that frame should be dropped at the switch because it's not going to allow those two computers to communicate because they're in different VLANs. Yep, request timed out. However, one thing you can do is, because PC3 and PC4 are in the same VLAN, we should be able to ping PC4 from PC3. 168.1.5. Perfect. And I got a reply. And then let's go into PC1 and just make sure all this is good to go. Go back into command prompt. Let's try and ping PC3 from PC1. 92.168.1.4. So we're in PC1 trying to ping PC3. And again, it should not work because we're in different VLANs and we haven't configured inter VLAN routing yet, or VLAN trunking. So there's no way right yet for it to reach PC3. So yeah, request timed out. But we should be able to ping PC2. 192, get ahead of myself. Ping 192.168.1.3. Cool. And we got a reply from PC2. So that's it. That's just the very basics of VLANs and how to configure them. Thanks for watching.